We had a crazy weekend of NRL fixtures this week in round 20, and I'm going to talk about them all in this video. So, welcome to League this week. Okay, so the first game was actually between the Dolphins and the Cowboys. Overall, it was just a dominant performance by the Dolphins. There was times in the game where the Cowboys looked like they could have came back, they just weren't able to, and yeah, the Dolphins just were the much better side. Not too much to say about the game, because that's really how it really went. It was quite one-sided, the Cowboys had opportunities, but yeah, it's a good performance by the Dolphins at Suncorp. That's with them bouncing back off their loss against the Sharks last week. Okay, the next game after that was the Sharks versus the Roosters. Now, there was moments in the game where the Roosters came back and it looked like they might have been able to beat the Sharks. It just never happened, and the Sharks eventually started running away with it. The Sharks won 31-18. Overall, if you look on the Rooster side, you had some decent performances by certain players, but just, it wasn't good enough, and the Sharks were just that better team, because obviously they are very momentum, because they're trying to push into the 8, which they are now, they're in 8th place, so that's good for them. Okay, now we'll go on to the second Friday game, which was between the Penrith Panthers and Rabbitohs. It was 30-10 to Panthers at CommBank, and that was what was expected. Honestly, even without Cleary and Yo and all those guys, we all knew Penrith were going to win this. The South, especially just when we found out Latrell got injured, we just knew the Rabbitohs wouldn't be able to win this. I guess sometimes in the second half they did. Obviously, they scored a try or two. They scored multiple tries, so they did put some sort of effort in eventually. But just for most of that game, especially in that first half, which I watched, they weren't very good, and it was just dominant by Penrith, even though they didn't have any really their main players. Okay, so the next game was between the Raiders and the Eagles. Obviously, as an Eagles fan, I was actually really happy at the first half. It didn't start off well for us. The Raiders scored 2 tries really quickly, but we came back to be 16-12. We were ahead at half time. Just for us to we hold on for like 10 minutes or so, and then we just get dominated for the next 30 in the second half, and the score ends up 40-16, which looks horrible. Probably looks close to being worse than the last time we played the Raiders. But at half time, we were in the lead. We could have beat the Raiders, we had an opportunity, we just didn't. But it's annoying, but the Raiders are the best side in the league, so it's not the worst case scenario. Okay, so the next game was the Bulldogs and the Dragons. The Dragons had really good, they played really well. They had good opportunities, they took them, and they looked like they were going to win the game. It was just for a final minute try from the Bulldogs who won the game. Galvin started over Sexton. Galvin had a really good game. I think there were certain points where he played really well and was an important member for that Bulldogs team. And then for the Dragons, obviously people like Gufferson, they also played well. It was quite equal. I thought the Dragons were going to win, but the Bulldogs actually stole it at the end. Flanagan will say there's a bunch of penalties and stuff against them, but there's a lot that you could discuss about it. But the Bulldogs played decent. It's another close win for them, and that's going to help them move close up to the higher bits of the table. I think they're maybe third or no, they're on second now, and that was because this next game, the Storm and the Manly Sea Eagles, it was a great game. Manly dominated in that first half. The Storm looked like they were playing with no effort. It looked like it was knockoff Storm, It was weird. Manly were that better team. They did come back in the second half, and they had a better second half. Just for Manly to go and win 18-16. Disappointing for the Storm. Yeah, I'm sure fans and the coaches will be incredibly disappointed that they weren't able to beat Manly there. Manly will be very happy because that's a really good win to beat the Storm. Okay, so we're going to the final 2 games now, which was on Sunday. So, first of all, was the Tigers and the Titans. What a close game. It was epic. That was really cool game between the two. The Tigers really fought for this, and they kept on trying back and forth, but it's always that 30-minute to the 50th minute part where the Tigers concede their tries. It's like they turn off during that time. But anyway, the Tigers were able to score a field goal late on to win the game at Lycon. Also, there was a player, I can't remember his name for the Titans, but as you can see, he did the Diogo Jota celebration, the gaming one, which is really cool. So, good on you. Now, we'll go into the final game, the Knights and the Warriors. Also, the reason why I'm not in the normal background, because I'm in the Central Coast, because I went to go watch the Newcastle Knights play last night, even though I'm not a Knights fan. But I was really happy I went. Because if you've seen it, it was probably all over the news as well for the sports stuff. It was chaotic. Back and forth and back and forth. The Knights had multiple opportunities, but the defense for the Warriors was too good. People trying and kicking, the Knights scoring a field goal, taking the lead. The Warriors multiple attempts, even penalty goals and field goals attempts at all of those, getting blocked and missing. It looked like the Knights were going to win. The Warriors tried to go for the 2-point field goal. It gets blocked. Knights fans, Knights players celebrate. The Warriors player picks it up. He runs through everyone. He goes. He gets kind of tackled, but the momentum carries him over to the line, and he scores a final minute try to beat the Knights and shock them at home. Now, maybe shock's not that right word, because we did expect the Warriors to win, but at that moment, no one did. I've still got this free hat, by the way. See, the temperature's gone down from exciting. But yeah, I got a free hat. This is cool. That's why I'm wearing it, because it's all I've got. But anyway, what a game. And there's going to be so much I'm going to talk about it in another video, which will come out tomorrow or later today, because it's such a good game that it needs more description on. And for the people wondering about the table, it's pretty similar. I guess changes like the Raptors moving up, the Eagles going back down, and then just the Raiders staying there, and then second Bulldogs. So really not many changes. But I did want to, as I said last week, I did want to start including the NRLW. So we'll just have a quick look at the couple games where the Eagles destroyed the Raiders 46-12, Dragons beat the Bulldogs 18-14, Cowboys beat the Sharks 16-14, the Titans beat the Tigers 24-12, the Roosters beat the Broncos 30-26, and the Knights beat the Warriors 36-20. We overall saw some pretty good games in the NRLW and dominant performances as well. But really, that is it. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.